Hello, let's start with our session on fractions and decimals. This session I'm taking up about fractions. Once we are done with the fraction, we will move on to decimals, right? First is, what is a fraction? What expression you call a fraction? Fraction is a number that expresses a part of a group. Like, suppose there are 10 girls in a group and I'm talking about 2 of them. So I'm talking about 2 out of 10. This is a fraction. 2 is a part of a group of 10. So when I'm expressing a number in this form, which is called the form A by B, where this b cannot be equal to 0, it is called a fraction. This a is referred to as the numerator and the b is referred to as the denominator. I will clearly write that. I think it's not working. I'll write this as denominator. Now, any example we write, I'll be writing a couple of examples, like one I had written 2 by 10, the other one might be 3 by 5, even 5 by 7 or 7 by 2. They are all expressions of fractions. Now if you see the first example, this one, here the numerator is smaller than the denominator. The numerator means 2 is smaller than 10. This is called a proper fraction. That means a proper fraction is a fraction where the numerator is greater than the denominator. This is a proper fraction. So the second one in the example is also a proper fraction where 3 is smaller than 5. Look at the fourth one, even third one is a proper fraction, but look at the last one. This is 7 by 2. Here the numerator is greater than the denominator. So this is called an improper fraction. Improper fraction, where the denominator is smaller than the numerator. There is one more type. We write it as which has a whole number along with a fraction. Suppose 4 is whole and 2 by 5 is a fractional part. So this is called mixed number, mixed fraction, wherein you have one whole number and a part of fraction. So 4 whole 2 by 5, 4 whole 1 by 3, 1 whole 2 by 5, they are all called mixed fractions. You might have decimal fractions as well, that will take up once I'm taking decimals. Then you can, I think you have equivalent fractions. We move on to equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions are different fractions which actually is representing the same value. Here I am taking equivalent equivalent fractions. But these are improper, sorry, these are mixed fractions. I forgot to write it there. Now what are equivalent fractions? I said these are those fractions which represent the same value. That means if I write, suppose 10 by 50, this is equivalent to 1 by 5. So we have to learn how to find out equivalent fractions. One more thing, equivalent fraction not necessarily is always reduced, it can also be increased. I move on to a better spaced page. So this is, suppose I have given like 10 upon 50, the previous example, and I told you that 1 upon 5 is an equivalent fraction to 10 upon 50. This is when I have reduced 10 by 50 to the lowest term. So what I did, I divided both of them, both means the numerator as well as denominator, by 10, thereby getting 1 by 5. I can also get equivalent fraction of the same fraction by dividing it by 5, both the numerator as well as the denominator with the same number. It will be 2 by 10. So 2 by 10 is also an equivalent fraction of 10 by 50. Or I can increase the fraction to get. I can multiply 2 and thereby getting 20 upon 100, and also that would give us an equivalent fraction. This was about finding out equivalent fraction. What are like and unlike fractions? Like and unlike fractions. Like fractions means when you have the denominators like if I'm writing 2 by 5, another fraction might be 7 by 5, the third one might be 4 by 5. If you see, all of them have a common denominator, that is 5. So they are called like fractions. Unlike fractions are the one which have different denominator. If I'm writing 2 by 5, the other one might be 3 by 7, the third one might be 5 by 11. If you see, all three of them, all the three denominators are different, so they are called unlike fractions. We can convert these unlike fractions to like fraction by giving them a common denominator. How do we convert? The first step before learning or moving on to learning addition and subtraction, we need to know how do we convert these unlike fractions to like fractions. To do so, supposedly I am converting this 2 by 5 and 3 by 7 into like fractions. They are unlike fractions. We need to take an LCM of the denominators. The denominator of the first fraction is 5. The denominator of the second fraction is 7. So the LCM is 35. Now we'll find a fraction with denominator 35. Here also we'll do the same thing to find a fraction with denominator 35. Now to do so, what we multiply here is 7, and you do the same thing in the numerator, thereby getting 14 upon 35. In the second fraction, to get a 35, you multiply 5 to it, and here also you multiply 5 to it, thereby getting a 15 upon 35. So the first one is 14 upon 35 and the second one is 15 upon 35. Now these two fractions have become like, because we have made it into, converted into fractions of like fractions, thereby giving them a common denominator of 35. Let's now learn addition and subtraction of fractions. The first one is, see, when you have like fractions to add, I think this you might have learnt in year 4 or year 5, you simply add the numerators. But the question arises when you have unlike fractions to add. Suppose the first one is find the sum of 3 by 4 and 2 by 5. The first thing we do separately here is to we can see very clearly that these are two unlike fractions. We first need to convert them into like fractions, and to do so, as we discussed, we will be converting 3 by 4 into a fraction with the LCM of 4 and 5. So what is the LCM of 4 and 5? The LCM, as because there is nothing common, so LCM of 4 and 5 is 20. Now we will convert these unlike fractions into fractions which have a denominator 20. Now to convert 4 into 20, we need to multiply a 5, and I do the same thing in the numerator, thereby getting the numerator 15 upon 20. The other one is 2 by 5. That also needs to be converted to a fraction with the denominator 20. To do so, I'll multiply here with a 4 and do the same thing in the numerator, and thereby getting 8. So I'm getting 8 upon 20. Now the two fractions have now been converted to like terms, that is 15 upon 20 plus 8 upon 20. You can now convert as you have learnt the like terms, thereby getting this as 23 upon 20. Now when you have such an answer wherein it is an improper fraction, always convert the improper fraction into a mixed fraction. To do so, we need to divide 23 by 20. So I'll be getting 1 as the quotient and the remainder will be 3. So mixed fraction is converted as improper fraction is converted to mixed fraction as 1 whole 3 by 20, and that should be your answer. We have taken one addition, we can take one subtraction as well. It says find the difference. 7 by 8 minus 3 by 4. You can again see this is the two fractions which are unlike. We'll again convert them into like fractions. To do so, we'll first find the LCM of the denominators. So LCM of 8 and 4 we have to find. We do some rough work here to find the LCM of 8 and 4. This you might have learned in the previous few years. So we are getting 4 into 2, that is 8 as the LCM. 4 into 2, that's 8 as the LCM. Now we have to convert these two fractions with, see, the first one is already in the denominator having 8. So the only one which we need to convert is 3 by 4 into a fraction which has a denominator 8. So converting 3 by 4 into a fraction with denominator 8, we have to multiply a 2 in the denominator, doing the same thing in the numerator, thereby getting 6 by 8. Right? So our question becomes now 7 by 8 minus 6 by 8, thereby giving us 1 by 8. Right? In the next few sessions, we'll be seeing we'll be learning how we convert or add and subtract these mixed fractions into improper, and thereby learning their multiplications as well as divisions. Thank you.